How does one begin to tell the story of Father Antonio Buenaventura Olaguer, better known as Father Toti, a deceptively ordinary man made more extraordinary by his deep faith and love for Jesus? It actually started when Toti met Jesus' mother at the age of 1.
In the evening, Jose brought us to see the procession. We also brought Totito that he would see the Virgin. We had the good luck to enter the church before the entrance of half of the procession, so we were able to get good seats. Totito, even if wearing a sweater, he was using only a shirt and without shoes, did not complain of the heat. I was not about to bring him because it was evening, but when we were about to leave, I took pity on him, so I took him with me. He loved so much the light and the icons that he did not feel the perspiration that was dripping from his head. The carriage of the Virgin stopped in front of us, so we saw her very well. Toti did not know anymore where to look.
As it is through Mother Mary that we really come to know of her beloved Son, so it is through Toti's mother that we come to know the real Father Olaguer.
In the picture, one can see that he is very imposing. A good thing about that boy is that he is not shy. He loves animals so much that even if the whole world does what he wants, he does not stop crying if he is in bad humor. On the other hand, only the name of Benny the puppy or the kitten is enough to make him keep quiet in the blink of an eye. This he does not do out of fear, but because he is entertained. When he eats bread, he gives to the dog or to the chicken. Even if he is much smaller than his brother, he already makes him cry with his boxing, which in truth is not a joke. Toti is also very intelligent. Only has to teach him once, and he knows it already. He has signs of becoming an athlete. He does exercises with his body and his arms like the adults do. Sometimes he stands on a small table and he balances without holding on the chair. He has 8 teeth already. Toti's mouth is like a bell. If he's not shouting, he's like a parrot. When he wakes up in the mornings, he already knows that he has to pray and pee. If I make him pray something else, he does not like it. He always wants what I taught him before. He loves to play with hammer and nails and with rubber bands. The other night, he wanted to dance and he made me play the piano until I got so tired. After that, he slept peacefully.
Toti was born on July 28, 1927, and raised in Manila by our parents who are both from Ginobatan, Albay. Father Toti was one of 13 children and the firstborn from the second of 3 batches of 5 boys and 8 girls. Toti was 10 years old when our mother died and our father, Lino Olaguer, married the 3rd time. Toti won second runner-up in a baby contest under the bottle-fed category. Sabi ni Papa, dapat first prize daw siya. Kaya lang, dahil sa sobrang likot, may galo siya sa braso sa kauuntog sa pader.
In July of 1947, a few days shy of becoming 20 years old, Toti missed the boat bound for America. It was supposed to take him to Fordham University on a 4-year U.S. college scholarship. Instead, he was found months after the Pierre no-show incident at the Sacred Heart Novitiate in Novaliches, preparing to do the Heavenly Father's business. On October 28, 1947, the young Toti Olaguer said yes to his calling to be a Jesuit. He took up his classical and philosophical studies at Novaliches and at Bergman's College in Cebu City, where he earned his AB and MA degree in philosophy.
I think the first miracle in Toti's life is when he decided to join the Jesuits. That was a shock to everybody in the Ateneo, not only to the faculty, but even to his colleagues, his classmates. Of all people, Toti Olaguer, no way, you know. Anybody else, no? Some kind of, you know, Dennis the Menace was his role there on the campus. Always the loudest. No, he wouldn't even laugh. He used to cackle. And I think he did that on purpose to really irritate some of our mentors.
On October 30, 1949, a brief but significant event sealed the commitment to be in the company of Jesus. This young regent made his first vows in the Society of Jesus, after which he was then sent to Woodstock College in Woodstock, Maryland, USA. He was ordained to the priesthood on the 19th of June 1960 by the late Archbishop Egidio Vanosi at Woodstock Chapel, USA. Who knows Father Toti's mental and physical pains and afflictions, torment and anguish, which is only between him and his God? How many times was he tempted to say no to the will of his earthly father, much more to his heavenly Father? Of the ones that we know of, how many times did he suffer and cry out in utter frustration and loneliness? Toti is a person not easily understood by many. He is loco-loco. If St. Paul dared the early Christians to be fools for Christ, then Father Toti is certainly one of them, for he did the exact opposite of what the world expected. God has chosen what the world considers foolish in order to shame the wise. And this very work puts us on center stage as men doomed to death for all the world to see and to ridicule, as clowns for Christ.
As a child, Uncle Toti was beaten with a nara baston that broke into large splinters. A dos-por-dos wooden plank and a chair, these also broke, even a silver spoon that bent after hitting his head. My tita thought that Uncle Toti's body was made of steel, for despite severe corporal punishment, Toti did not cry or whimper. Uncle Toti preferred to hide his intelligence, not to mention his photographic memory. When Toti would talk with his father, he played dumb and ignorant, short of sounding and looking like someone who is tanga. One time, my lolo was about to spank Uncle Toti for keeping a messy cabinet. He was about to throw out the contents, and my tita was there ready to fold them back again. When my lolo opened the cabinet door, about 50 or so medals, gold, silver, and merit cards came tumbling out, which Uncle Toti had kept hidden from his family all that time.
During the martial law years, Father Toti, a look-alike of Che Guevara at that time, had been given a total of 18 ASOS, that's the arrest, search, and seizure orders. He once commented that he can already put up a dog pound with his many ASOS. Each time it was received, he was told not to mind it. Once he was being searched for, he hid inside Camp Crame in the prison cell of his brother Ed Olaguer, while the military was searching for him outside. Father Toti Olaguer was Ninoy's family chaplain during those dark days. He said Mass for Cory and Ninoy at Fort Bonifacio. During the burial of Ninoy, Father Toti was riding in the van with Cory and family for hours, jammed in the crowd. During the height of their resistance against Marcos, Father Toti became very sick and was hospitalized. Father Jose Blanco already prayed the last rites for Father Toti as he and Celine saw Toti's extremities turn black and blue. He died for about 30 minutes, and after which he came back from his afterlife experience.
If one's life were to be measured in terms of the Holy Rosary, I'd say that my sorrowful, my joyful, and my glorious mysteries, I have shared with you, or you have been a part of it, and also that the magic of it was that you have presented to me my sorrowful mysteries as though it were the glorious mystery, and for that I'm very thankful for.
I have known you for 61 years of my whole life. But the best thing I can remember about those 61 years is what happened. When was that? 1987? You remember? You called me up over the phone. You needed something. And I mentioned to you casually that we were going to Medjugorje. That was sometime in October of 1987. And you said, ay, sayang, sana makasama ako. Ikaw. I told you, oh, why not? Ay, but you said you had a retreat, so you couldn't live with us. Anyway, I extend you a blanket invitation and I'd take care of your fare if you would be willing to come along with us, because Nats Tanyada was coming along, and Derbs Blanco. Lo and behold, 3 days before we were supposed to leave, you called me up and you said that your engagement was postponed and you could come. I think that was a turning point in our lives, your life and my life. So we ended up in Medjugorje, and I suppose the rest is history. I can only say this, that before that, I think I knew you more as an activist priest. After Medjugorje, everybody was telling me, hey, what happened to Father Toti? What happened to your brother? Why? I said, he is now a very Marian priest.
It was the fateful day at Medjugorje that Father Toti's heart was pierced by the sword in 1987. He cried the whole night, and from then on took Mary as his own mother to lead him step by step back to a renewed vocation as a priest. He fasted all the way home to Manila, and for the first time in 20 years, gave a retreat.
Father, happy 50th! Akalain mong umabot ka pa. Just like I said in the center a couple of weeks ago, na if it hadn't been for Medjugorje, baka hanggang 40 years ka lang as, not only as a Jesuit, but even as a priest. When we finally went to Cardinal Sin to tell him that we were setting up a center and that we were, our first activity actually was that Vigil for Peace. And we went to tell him that we were supporting the church, etc. I remember Cardinal Sin being so shocked. Oh, Father Toti! Oh, this maybe Medjugorje is true. Because can you imagine? And then he laughed, you know, that laugh that he has, that Father Toti would change. I mean, it was no secret that you had moved to the left side, or was it the right side? We don't know, but that you had moved from the center, and Our Lady brought you back right into the center of our lives, and into our Center for Peace.
Kapihan was held once a week for more than a year as a forum to get together, talk, and listen to Father Toti expound on eternal truths and messages from the Holy Mother's Blue Book. The many cenacles were born out of these gatherings and eventually spread to full flowering in other parts of the country. The September 8 movement in honor of the birth of the Blessed Mother was organized during this informal kapihan. The movement brought about the Sal Pandesal, which is the cross and the cause, the prayer combined with action. For 5 years now, the movement has distributed the Marian Messenger, its newsletter, and established Consciensyang Pilipino, an advocacy network for principled and responsive governance. It was in 1992 when Father Toti assumed the position of National Director of the Marian Movement of Priests, with the sanction of Rome. His predecessor, Father Castillo, passed away, and the post was offered to Father Toti by Simplicio Ging Rojas, Father Gobi's representative in the Philippines.
At that time, Father Toti was suffering from bursitis, an affliction of the swelling of the foot, and he could barely walk. He also had a heart condition. He had a quadruple bypass heart operation years before. At one point, he had to be carried up to the 3rd floor of the facility center to reach the old office of the Center for Peace on Shaw Boulevard. And yet, in spite of this, he was able to travel to the US, Russia, Portugal, India, spreading the cenacle and joining pilgrimages to Marian shrines.
The rest of his life is devoted to two things: the propagation of the Marian movement of priests and laity, and of the pilgrimage tour to the Philippines as the Holy Land of Asia, where overseas Filipinos and their foreign friends can visit the only country in Asia with over 100 cathedrals and Marian shrines scattered all over the 1,107 islands. As one can see, Father Toti Olaguer's life is in itself one living, breathing, and pulsating rosary. Father Toti has transformed 50 years of his Jesuit life as a living offering of 50 Hail Marys, strung together by 15 mysteries and punctuated by the little miracles strewn along the way. And like a child wanting to give flowers to his mother, Father Toti gathered a bouquet of other living rosaries in the countless cenacles sprouting all over the country as a fitting crown to the Blessed Mother.
Father Toti, mission accomplished ka na, ha? So on this, your 50th anniversary as a Jesuit priest, happy Golden Jubilee. And may you have 50 more years to come as we move to the next millennium, to the new era, to the new heavens and the new earth, as promised by God through the message of Mama Mary, through the Blue Book.